Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know what you're stitching. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me. Before I get started with my weekly stitching, first off, I want to say that I did have an extra video. If you noticed, I think it went out Wednesday morning. I filmed my artist trading card show and tell video, my favorite video to film because it's so much fun to see everybody's take on the challenge. So the challenge was where you live, and I love what people did and thought and created, and it's so amazing. So if you'd like to see that, it's the video right before this one. I also have a playlist just for artist trading cards, and I put everything I filmed for trading cards in there, so it would also be in there. And I think I've started with the show and tells, saying what the theme is on the title. So if you were looking for one in particular, you would know by just clicking on the title. So that's there if you'd like. Then I have one full finish that I have, but I thought I would pull out, and you can see I'm going to have them hanging for my video. Doing this backwards with the hands really dumb. Some St. Patrick's stuff that I have previously done that I've hanging up on my, I'll go backwards this way and then work towards me. Underneath my hanging shelves, Mo put in some, what are those little hooks that, I don't know, they're not like S hooks, they're like the little curly things. And he put it into the shelving underneath, and then I can hang things from it. So this one right here, I believe, was a Primrose Cottage. So that one was a lot of fun and pretty easy to stitch, actually. I don't think I changed anything on that. This one here was a Helen D freebie. And I used, actually, I want to say this was the first time I used a sulky, and I used a sulky variegated, and then something sparkly for the O. And this was fun because this was sparkly cardstock and like a gold sparkle, and so I used that as my base, a die cut base for the ornament there. And then this other one, gosh, I forgot to check. This was a freebie, but it wasn't as, I think it stopped one. It wasn't as long. If I can look in my book and find it, if you wanted to know, I made an extra row, I think, and then came out because I wanted to make it a little bit bigger. And then online, I just Googled like cross stitch alphabets, and this came up. You basically just typed in whatever you wanted, and it just showed it up. And I thought that was kind of cute, like just a little kind of almost sort of cursive, but not really. And this one, I actually decided not to mat it. I put like 3 layers of batting. So it's obviously not a hanging pillow-ish thing, but it kind of has that poof to it. I thought that was fun. So those 3 are 3. I didn't have room for all of mine, but those 3 hang on my shelves. And a lot of times the St. Patrick's and the Irish stuff hangs all year round because I have 2 hanging shelves, and one of them is kind of dedicated to the wonderful items that people sent me for Shamrock, our dog that passed away. And so those are always out, and then I put the Irish stuff with it. So that's this holiday because St. Patrick's Day is Monday. So I thought those, I need to kind of highlight those. And then last week with my shopping, one of the things I got was the felt, and I was waiting on the felt to be able to finish Spring Blessings. So yay, I finally finished it. I had 2 different kind of pinks that I wasn't sure which one I wanted to bounce off of. I think this one is the darker pink. It's still a shade lighter than what I have in the stitched here, but that's okay. I think it looks good. And I did all 4 of these the same way. Maybe next week what I'll do is I'll put the other 3 and then have this one to show you. But basically, you know, around comic book board, and then this is felt. The back is not pretty at all. This is comic book board again. I put the felt a little bit bigger on it, and then just use some felt to hold that. I don't really care what the backs look like. And what's nice is, and I'm gonna just put it like this. It can also, if you wanted to, and I'll put it down here, it can be a leaner without any, because the hanger can just tuck underneath. So I like doing that too. You know what, we'll tuck it underneath this one right here so that it's up here up top. And we'll lean it that way. There we go. Now we'll see if it falls because I don't have it tilted enough, but that's all right. So that's my full finish. Yay! So I did get one this week. I'm not sure for next week if I'll have any. Sometimes I have something in my brain that I definitely want to finish that week, and I do it. I don't have that this week. This week was actually an incredibly busy week for me. I was out of the house quite a bit. If you sent me any emails, odds are I don't even know if I've seen them because I haven't checked Gmail every day. I know I haven't really responded. I know on Facebook, I went on, was it last night or during the day? And then I got down a rabbit hole of a Shannon Christine thing. So I know I have posts on my Facebook page that I need to go and look at because some of you have been posting some fun stuff. And I haven't done really any of that. So it's just been busy. When I was stitching, I was focused on what I was doing and I had a lot of kind of block stuff. So that worked out well. I got some good stitching in, but it was very sporadic and I didn't do much else. So if you're waiting on me to hear from me on something, it wasn't happening this week. I think next week will be a little bit quieter though, which is nice. We go in ebbs and flows, right? Alrighty, so let's start with the projects. My very first project, the other thing I would like to do is on my iPad photo section, have an entire list of the 2025 projects. I haven't quite done that yet. So I need, what do I need? I need, not recent, I would need, I'll go with this one. That's probably in there for now. No, it's not. So I have to do this whip list. Excuse me. Oh, there it is. Gosh, I was looking for purple, but it's not done in purple originally. So this is Black Roses from Owl Forest Embroidery. This was my New Year, New Start this year. And I have been rotating and pulling this, and I'm going to rotate it with Cinderella from Lina Ova on Whip Warriors, which is a Facebook challenge group. Currently closed, will reopen again at the end of November. One of their monthly events is basically just a focus challenge. And so you stitch on one piece. Oh, you can see the window over there. Sorry about that. You stitch on one piece for, I think it's 4 set days. And you see how much you can get done. And so in January, I did this one. And then February, I rotated with Cinderella. And they're big pieces, and they're not part of my 4-week rotation. So I thought how perfect to put them in with the focus event. And so this way, every other month, they will get some work. So let me show you. Yeah, there we go. That's what it looks like. Let me fold this over just a little bit. As soon as I saw the pattern, I knew I wanted some sort of smoky-ish plum something. It's a little bit darker, not quite as bright in real life, but you get the idea. I did 1,522 stitches during the focus event. Yay! For those of you who do, it looks like you get threads for 500, 1,000, or 1,500. So if you're at like 1,490, do those few extra. I don't know if she would just give you the third, but I figure if I didn't have time, I would have stayed closer to 1,000 and then just worked on something else. This is 18 count Pomona from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I am using, I think it's pomegranate, I'm not 100% sure, variegated floss for the roses. And I know the irony of the roses are being red since it's called Black Roses. And then I'm just using Anchor Black. Before, you could no longer seem to find it anywhere. I had been slowly, before I even realized it, every time I did say a 1, 2, 3 stitch order, I would add like 5 skeins. So I have a good number of skeins to get me through for some of my bigger projects. And then I have to go back to 310. So one note on this one, I did get it into Pattern Keeper mostly, but it didn't just go in. It said that there was an issue with the sizes of the pages. So I had to manually put in what each page's size was. But somehow or other, it's made a few kind of internal errors on it. So if you've done that, for example, page 1 to 2, which was this to here, was fine. So I didn't even realize it. And then page 2 to 3 had a complete error, but you could tell because the designs didn't make sense. And this side is a mirror image of this side. Well, this time around, I decided I was doing a little bit of this. In fact, I printed off the pattern because I had bought it digitally so I could look at it against my pattern keeper so that I knew when there was a mistake coming. But I decided to do some over here. And I had not realized, I had come down, I think this is page 4, and an extra stitch had been shown. I hadn't realized it. So this, and this all had extra stitches. And I mean, everything kind of plays off each other. That kind of element, I think I would have had a tough time. And then I would have had to try to remember to repeat it on the other side of kind of fudging it. So I had to rip everything. Just, I mean, it wasn't a ton, but I did have to rip down here. Luckily, I hadn't put in the variegated floss yet, so I didn't waste any of that. But I had to rip out some and then restitch it. But that's just kind of a word of warning. If you were able to get it in Pattern Keeper that way, even though between one page and another, it might be fine, every page break, just do a double check because, it might have done something on one of them, but not on another. And I did concentrate heavily. I did try to do quite a bit here on this centerpiece. We are coming up to a page break here. So I might do some of the stuff around it because it's just straight lines and I can't quite tell if it's been a repeat or not. So, but I enjoyed stitching it overall. Just a few things I had to pay attention to. It's worth it to me to have it in Pattern Keeper versus just the paper. So I will just keep being aware of it. So it's probably what? That's this rose right here. So I probably have about till here to go still to work my way down. So I might end up maybe next time I pull it out going this way so that I can kind of get around that centerpiece a little bit more. So this was a lot of fun. I really do like it. I really enjoyed Black Vintage Sampler, so I figured I would enjoy this one too, and it's been fun. And it's nice to throw in a little bit of color there. And it's a specific spot, so I don't have to decide, ooh, do I want that color there or not, because it's a flower, so it's perfect. Okay, so this next piece is my Empyrean SAL from Forbidden Fiber Co. I had gotten it, and I think I got the kit in last week when I saw you, right? I have hair that I think is going in a weird direction. Look at that. See, it sticks up. I'm going to take my glasses off for a minute. For some reason, when I put my glasses on, sometimes I get that little piece of hair that sticks out. Now I think there's one here. It is the way it is. I had gotten the kit in, and I don't think I had started it because I was trying to figure out where on my fabric to start it. So I did not finish the first section, but I did do part of it. And then on Monday, we had the second drop, and I did part of that. Now, if you are in the stitch along, things are supposed to drop on Monday. So I figure by Friday, you'll have seen it. But I will give kind of a warning as I'm showing it. So if you do not want to see, I am going to show you as of now what the the original intro part was before the stitch along came and the first part that came. So look away if you don't want to see. I'm going to show you the picture of what we've got so far. So that's what has been charted for us. And yay, I'm going to be up in the upper left corner, which is nice because then I'll know whether or not I counted right, and I think I did. Okay, so I've shown the pattern where it is, and I'll show you what I've done so far. This is, I can just fold this over because it's not, 18 count Feathertail from Forbidden Fiber Co. So I got the fabric, I got the floss, as you can see there, and I am using the kit fabric and floss. First time for fabric with Forbidden Fiber Co. I got the Aida, and it's quite lovely. I almost want to say sadly, it's really nice to stitch on because now I'm going to want to buy some Forbidden Fiber Co. Of course, have I looked at the colors? Oh, yes, I have. And this is the first time using their floss, and it is quite nice too. So overall, this could be more expensive than just the pattern, the cost of the kit for me. But this is exciting because I'll have a couple of the sections sort of done, and so this way, depending on where the pattern goes next. But I clearly have not kept up on either part, but I figure I'll just go along as I'm going, and you may see this every week. It might be fun to do some stitch with it every week just to get a little bit farther, because I'd hate to get too far behind. I suspect I will not be completely caught up ever. I'm thinking probably not, because I started over the weekend with the first pre-stitching, and then the new one dropped on Monday. And of course, I have lots of plans, lots and lots of plans. So there's just so much to stitch. I am trying a new tea today. It is pineapple ginger green tea, and it is lovely. It's got the green tea. You don't really get ginger, but you get almost a little hint of sweetness. It's nice, but not that kind of like stevia sweetness where it's like that artificial. It's just a nice little flavor. All right, moving on. Next, I had started this last week, and I wanted to do a little bit more. I thought I had got good progress, but I was really wanted to see what, and I only ended up doing one of the browns, but what the browns looked like on the fabric I chose. I liked the fabric for what I had done so far, but I wanted to go a little bit farther. So it did get a little bit more stitching, a couple sessions. Now, for me, if you're new, I stitch probably a minimum of 3 different things a day. Like I have little bursts of stitching. I don't sit for 6 hours stitching straight. I'll do, if I'm up early, which doesn't seem to happen lately. Come summer, it might, because I'm very much with the light. If the light comes out, it gets me up and going. If I can stitch early, get a little bit in, I'm going to have usually a better stitch day. Then you have to go and do stuff, and then you come and you do a little stitching, then you're off doing stuff, and here and there. And then at night, I usually choose something that's pattern keeper or digital, because that's what I can see. So when I say a stitch session, it might be just an hour somewhere, and then maybe it got another hour somewhere else. If I go somewhere, I always bring some stitching in case I can get a little in, kind of thing. I haven't done really any beach stitching yet. It's been cold-ish. It looks nice, and then the wind comes, and then it's cold. So this is what I have so far. 18 count, what is this? Modestchme from Those Missing Stitches. I continued some more leaves, came down here. I started the flower here, but then I think I flagged that day and I got tired. But I did do one of the browns, and I do like it on this. You are seeing it much more modeled. That color here is a nice, lovely peach that plays really nice off of this, which is not as dark. So think of this as a little bit darker, and this is a little bit lighter, and it really blends in nicely. It's not going to show up here that way, but I'm really enjoying this quite a bit, and am happy that I finally got it started. It's been on the plans for a while, and I'm happy with my color choice too. I had this idea in my head, and I wasn't sure if I'd find something I liked, but I do like that. I think at this point, I don't think you'll see this one next week, because there's lots of other things to stitch. So you'll just have to wait and see it some other time. I've seen lots of people stitch it. The one I remember the most is Katie, the novel stitcher. So I'm gonna link Katie's videos. And I always say this, I don't remember 100% if she finished it or not. You watch so many floss tubes after a while, they all just kind of blend together, and you're not sure what you saw and what you didn't see. So, all right, so this next one, I am realizing as I'm thinking about showing it to you that I completely did not look up a couple things that I wanted to look up or put on my, that I had for my plans. Nope, I didn't. All right, well, we're just gonna wing it. So part of this project I had started several years ago, and then I think when we moved, I have some projects that had kind of been put somewhere else, and so it had stalled, and I kind of had forgotten about it. Then, so about, was it a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, yeah, it might have been 2 weeks ago, after President Zelensky had advocated for Ukraine and kind of the troubles there, Becca, sorry about that, from Sambrie Stitches had put out a freebie. And it reminded me that I had already stitched a freebie from Modern Folk and that I had a plan for a scrapbook page. I wanted to do a 12 by 12 of multiple different kind of Ukrainian support pieces. So this is the old one. This is from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I stitched this when it first came out. And I had some more of this fabric. It's a scrap fabric. It doesn't have anything on it. So I ended up stitching Becca's on it. So that's what that one looks like. It's a very cute piece. I think I did, and I think Becca would be okay with this. I took some of the colors that were from this one I had already stitched, and I have another one that I've sort of started. So I used some of her color, and then I also color suggestions, and then I also kind of pulled in from other things I wanted to do. And the other thing I did, which I had not done before, so Becca had created like a double border, kind of like how this one is a double border, and they're both supposed to be completely cross-stitched. I did full X's on the blue, but then when I did the yellow, I did an entire half stitch all the way around. And looking at it, I kind of like it like that. Have you done that before, where you maybe do one border full and one half? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I liked it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep it like that. So if you were to look at it and you say, Laura, you've only done one side of the X on those yellow border. I know, it's meant to be that way. So I have these two, and these two are on the smaller side. Then I have, and this is one of the things I wanted to check. I want to say when these charts were coming out, somebody had stitched, and I'm just going to show you from here because I don't want to show the pattern. Somebody had stitched this piece. This is from, this is a freebie, I believe. Yep, complimentary chart by Stone Street Stitchworks. And they had stitched the flowers in the blue and the yellow. And I had started, and this is why I think it must have been put somewhere. Nope, that's not it. This is it. I had started this, but as you can see, I'm only in the outline. It doesn't really matter which way I hold it, right? Because it's probably this way. It's all the same all the way around. So I had done the entire blue outline, and I've done half of the yellow outline. This is a Fortnite fabric, so they no longer do fabrics, hand dye fabrics. But and then I wanted to do the flowers, blue and yellow, and use all of these same colors with the pattern. Now, that's 3. Originally, I was going to do these 2 together and have them. And then when I saw Becca's, I had to stitch this. And then Stitch Sprout, I bought, and I didn't put it, gosh, let's see here. If I go to, Stitch Sprout had recently put out, well, I shouldn't say recently, I recently saw it, this pattern, and I said, well, this would go perfectly with my whole thought of having a full page. Etsy likes to put pop-ups now. Do you notice that? So I ended up buying this from Stitch Sprout. I'm showing you, I've only got 2 things in shopping. So this is one of them. So I bought this piece as well. And because I've already stitched this part in the Modern Folk embroidery, I'm only going to do the other part of it and not do the letters around, because I don't think I need to at this point. And I think I might do some sort of just extra border around it. I think I might stitch it on this so that I'd have 2 on this kind of bluey gray kind of thing, and then 2 on more of this beige. And that will all have complementary shades of the blues and the yellows together, and I thought that would be really great as a 12 by 12 scrapbook page. So that's the ultimate plan. I always get these plans and I always have these ideas, and then, you know, you have to make that vision become a reality, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think I'm really pleased with the direction that this is going and how this will work. So that'll take a little bit of time, but I'm excited about that and happy that Becca put out that freebie. So then this way it kind of made me think, what did I do with the modern folk stitch? And in the end, found the other one, and thought this would be a really nice kind of project to do. So thank you, Becca. Alrighty. Next, this one you're going to see probably every week because I want to get it finished by the end of March. And it is my March Cottage from Country Cottage Needleworks. I've gotten closer. I'm on a chair, and then there's no space here, no desk. I have TV tray tables on either side of me so that I can get really close. And I got really excited there. So let me go back a little bit. You don't need to see me that close. So this you can see that close. March Cottage, this one in April, and then this project is done, completely done. So that's where it is. And I really wanted to see, oh, it looks bright in the camera. It's not quite that bright. I did change the colors on this. I wanted to see what the house would look like with the color scheme. This is 18 count vintage country mocha. And I made this green darker. And then the green that was supposed to be for those, I made that the lighter green. And then the green for the house, I wasn't feeling it. So I went with a bright, kind of like a 704 or something. I don't remember. So I changed the greens, but I did not change anything else. Everything else is going to be as called for, as far as I can tell. I mean, I've pretty much got everything in that we're going to see, so I think it'll be fine. I finished the roof, got a little bit of that other green border, put in some of that color to see what it looked like. The lamb needed his little legs, tail, and face, so I put that in. I had a few leaves, I believe I had to finish, so I did that. But I made some good progress. Now the house, I love the idea of stitching houses. Execution-wise, doing the house, I usually stall about halfway through, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of over this house. But then I'll turn around and buy another house piece because I just love the house. You'd think I'd know by now. But because I kind of want to get this one finished, what do I have? A little over 2 weeks at this point, if we're on the 14th. So technically, I have 2 videos still in March, and then a few days after my last, at the 28th, in order to do a little bit more. I don't care whether or not it's displayed for March. I just want it stitched for March. And April was started. I don't know how far I've gotten though. So I'm not starting that 100% from scratch. This one I was starting from scratch. So there it is. And I think I'll continue on the house, I think. Most likely. I suppose I could do underneath here the other lamb with the fence and then some of the grass here, but I think I want to tackle that and see what that color looks like completely. So there it is. So it's got some time, but I'm thinking, you know, Monday's St. Patrick's Day, so we really should stitch on our kind of stuff with shamrocks and things like that. All right, next piece here. I need to go to whip list. I think it would be underneath there. I'm just trying to remember when I started. There we go. I started this one late. So I have been, another event, which is a month-long event in Whip Warriors, is Lion versus Lamb. So it's a full coverage event. I talked about it last week. You pull full coverage out, stitch 1,000 stitches, move on to the next one and see what you can do in the course of a month. This piece, I only just started this in December, but there's something about it that I just find incredibly, I don't know if I want to say relaxing, just enjoyable to stitch. Originally, before I realized that this month was Lion versus Lamb, this one was going to get my 100 stitches a day for March. Then when I realized the event was starting, I kind of pivoted, and what I did was I didn't go by percentages. I went by number of stitches because they had said go from your least to your most. And I don't know if they said closest to finish. They just said least to most. So I went with least number of stitches, which is different than your percentage, right? Because every project is different. And so this was the second least. And so this is the one I pulled out second. You saw it last week. It is Stitches So Beautiful is who charted it. The artwork is by Adne L Studio. There are 3 different designs. I chose this one. It was my favorite, and I did go with the full size versus the mini. And this is where we are. So this is it completely. I'm almost sure I've finished this side and gotten all the way to the side. Now I've been keeping these at as close to 1,000 as I can get. So this finishes up between last week's stitching and then this past week that you've seen. So 2 weeks in the last week, 1,040 stitches. And I don't believe I did much there. I've been spending, I think I put in an extra 400. And so I've really been filling in kind of this area right here. So I really enjoy this one. I am most definitely going to give that a month's focus, but I'm not sure it'll be next month because it did get some work this month. I'm not going to get to all. I currently am keeping something like 11 full coverage active right now this year. I'm not getting obviously to all of them this month. So I'll have to go and see who hasn't been stitched on and who didn't get any work this month. And that one might be the focus for next month. We'll see. So that was the first one. That I just had to finish up maybe 400 stitches or so. And let me stick that right there. So then I pulled out my next one. And the next one was the next least amount of stitches to it was, nope, that's not it. I thought I saw it in my, there it is. This is Beach Girl in a Red Dress is what I call it. That's the Etsy title. I don't remember who the artwork is by, and I honestly don't remember. I thought I'd remember, and so I didn't check. It's an Etsy shop. Simple Wave Studio, I want to say, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's what comes into my head. So I did get my 1,000 stitches on this one already, but I'll tell you why. I decided because there's a huge chunk here. Now in the picture, this is the, this is the thing sometimes. It's kind of more, you've got the blue and then it's a little bit kind of clouds and whitish. Here it's more beige, which in the end will be fine because that color will play off of the reds, and then you have like sand and kind of seagrass down here. But it's just kind of funny when you first started stitching it. So this is 822, and I did about 975 of the stitches of the 1,000 from 822. And then I was close. I said, I can't do anymore. I went over here and I ended up total with 1,045 stitches. But I mean, I could easily do in a night, 250 stitches because I didn't have to look at a pattern. I was just marking it off on Pattern Keeper as I kept going and doing it. And so I did get this. This was the fastest I'll get any of the 1,000, I think, because I literally didn't have to look for colors, didn't have to change the color or nothing. And I'm glad I got a good chunk of this done. There's still, here's the horizon. So you can see I still have a good chunk. But it's nice. That's kind of nice because down here will be heavy confetti. So that will take a while probably. But I have pulled out, I don't remember which one it is. I have pulled out the next piece now. So that will be, I've done 3 this month for Lion versus Lamb. And I'm now on my 4th, which was the fourth least amount of stitches of my full coverage. So you'll see that one next week. Whether or not I get the 1,000 between now and next video, we'll see. I have no idea because I don't know what the week's bringing for me. Next, I pulled out Yellow Submarine because I have not stitched on this really this year. And so I decided I wanted to give it a little bit of time. Now I am changing the vibe in my mind a little bit. This is Blackbird Designs, right? And then let's see if I can find the picture. I have so many different folders here, and that's the thing. I need to kind of consolidate everything. I wonder if it's under photos. Let me do a quick check. I wanted to show you what my inspiration would be for this piece. There it is. And I don't know if this was an album cover or if this was, no, that's not it. That was a different inspiration for a different Beatles piece. Because I did have, oh, here we go. I don't, these look like the album covers versus posters, but I liked these as an inspiration. Now I couldn't find a blue. I know you're shocked, but I couldn't find a blue that was that shade. That's what I looked for. And then I kind of went with the colors on the Submarine. And then you'll notice here, we have a heavy influence of some purple. And there is no purple in this piece. I haven't put it in yet, but I do have a plan. I picked out a purple already. It's probably like is it 550? No, I don't know. It might be 553. I don't remember where. It's in my bag. And I just have to decide where on the pattern to put some purples. I might do the border actually yellow and purple versus the brown to give it an element there. And I think some of these flowers I might make purpley. So a way to put that in. This was not as deep a blue as I wanted, but it was nice and bright and fun. So that went with the vibe of how bright and fun. And the bottom underneath the Submarine in the cover there had sort of this shade. So I went with it. This is 18 count Dive In from Bestitchme. Now I did have to change some of the colors because obviously this is originally on a much more neutrally or darker sort of piece than this. So I did pick out my own version of a variegated here. One of the colors in the Submarine, I think it's this one, is a Dying for Cross Stitch variegated. And then the red is a variegated. So there's a few places where I'm throwing that in. I have no idea what color I'm making the fish yet. So I've been kind of, I focused on the border first, and then I did some more Submarine this time around because I know what I'm doing with both of those. So let's get those done and then see colors, what I want to do around that kind of thing. I didn't get all the way, the first time I worked on it, I just did all border that day. And then the next time I worked on it, I did all kind of, I think it's Midas Touch is the name of this one. And I did all Submarine. So it's got a ways to go, and I don't have all of the colors figured out and all the plans. Some of it's a bit trial and error because I don't know what it's going to look like on that color. And that's a bright blue. So of course things are showing up on it maybe differently than they show up, you know, on their skein or something. Alrighty. Next, we go back to my whip list here. And where is Mary? There she is. Mary Poppins. That was my focus piece for the week, my Q28 piece. I'm not stitching the border, so we're just going to go like this. Now you're still going to see some border, but ignore it. I really thought that the outline of this piece was really fun and enough to stand up. The border is beautiful, but that was a lot of stitching, and it wasn't what was drawing me to the piece. This is Mary Poppins from Lina Ova. There's a hashtag Lina Ova Sal. I have 2 going right now, but there's a few more that I'd like to stitch. And I'm just plugging along on this. I'm doing it all monochromatically. I don't know which one I worked on. Mondays is hashtag monochromatic Monday. So I usually try to pull out something for a little while that's monochromatic on Monday. I'll have to figure out what to do this Monday because it is St. Patrick's Day. But this is where I am. Now I think it's 823. I meant to, no, 939, excuse me, 939. I thought that went really nicely against this fabric. This fabric is 18 count Uranus from Under the Sea Fabrics. And it kind of has that, I wanted that kind of like smoky blue, foggy, it's not gray, but you know what I mean, that kind of look to it. And this fabric, which was a fabric of the month last year from Under the Sea, was perfect. And it was a good size. Now, obviously, because I've made it shorter without doing the border, that makes it easier to find fabrics for. And I think I did a little bit of, I did some of this border. I did the border over here. I did some building. I did a little bit of everything. But I did get my 500 stitches. So every month, these 4 pieces get at least 500 stitches. And then I haven't really pulled them out for challenges much, but I reserve the right to do so if they work. So next week is Spring Quaker, I believe. You'd think I'd know the rotation by now, but not so much. Okay, so this next piece was pulled out purely because it has not been worked on at all in 2025. I'm really loving that little chart I made for myself because this way I can really see at a glance. Carolyn's Balloons Summer from Jan Hicks. I have completed Autumn and Winter, and I currently have Spring and Summer on the go. And yeah, this is the one I was working on. I have kind of a funny size piece here. I have like extra here, but this was, you can see the back. This was the cutout of where I stitched Winter. So Spring and Autumn are on the same fabric, and then Winter and Summer will be on the same fabric, and then there'll be a 4-piece collection in my scrapbook. And so this is 18 count Lady of the Lake from Fabrics by Stephanie. And I did, again, a little bit of everything. I think I focused here, so we now have baskets. I did a little bit. This has some counting stuff that I have to pay attention to. I started the lighthouse. I figured let's start the lighthouse, and that was good. I think that I wasn't feeling like really on the ball for counting something like this because the balloons are beautiful, but this one and this one you're going to have to really pay attention counting wise. This one wasn't bad, and then this one will be easy. So you have to kind of be in the zone for that, and I really wasn't. So I said let's do some lighthouse instead, and that'll be great for like when I'm not in the zone, because then it's stripes, and then the houses down here aren't too bad. So not a huge amount of progress on this one, but at least it did come out, and it got just one stitching day on it. So it will continue to be something that I need to pull out a bit more so that it keeps going. Let me put this over here. So it keeps going and getting progress. I think Spring will get finished before this one is what I suspect, because I am farther along on that one, but you know, one never knows. All right, so the last 2, I had 4 starts this week, but Pray for Peace was a start and a finish. I just felt like it on this one, and then the last piece you'll see, because I have 2 more projects to show you, was a reason. This one here is Summer Refreshes. If you remember, I recently just finished Spring Awakens. Oh, I meant to bring it over so I could show you, because I'm doing them all monochromatically with the same floss and then changing out the fabrics. And so this is Summer House Stitchworks. And the floss I'm using is DMC Floche, F-L-O-C-H-E, if you're looking for it, 319. So the names and the colors are the same. They don't have the full line of DMC, but it is the same colors. If it says Floche 321, it is the 321 red kind of thing. So there I am. Oh, and this is completely washing out. A little bit closer. This is 18 count Lemon, so that's at a distance what it looks like. And this is from Bestitchme. I'm doing this, I'm patterning the colors of the fabrics off of what I did with the Jardin Privé series collection of seasons. And so it was a brighter yellow, and now I'm doing more pastel-y or a little bit lighter colors for this season collection. And so this one is a little bit less bright of a yellow. And I pulled out this lemon, and I thought, oh, how pretty this is. So I thought, how perfect. And that's the green against it, which is really nice. And this border, as you can see, was this border I found a little bit easier to do than the spring one. And so I got a decent chunk of started. Now, the top border, I've only done the top part of it. Those are all diamonds that have to be the bottom row, but I found I could get in a rhythm really nicely if I did just the top part. And so then I'll do the same thing with the bottom part. So, so this will obviously look a little different than this, but I'm really excited to see how it's going to look. I like the green on this, and I have not picked, you know, like I hadn't picked this. I don't know what fabric I'll use for autumn, and I don't know what one I'll use for winter, but I do know I want the 3M, the Floche 319. So that's my first start. I did use this for I Spy. Summer Refreshes was an element of time, right? Because you break up the year according to seasons a lot of times, which is, you know, a measure of time. So that's what I went with on this one for my I Spy. I Spy, if you're new, is a challenge that I do every month, and I give 10 prompts, and you basically just have to find them, spy them on your projects. And I am very lenient with the prompts. I am not going to sit there and police it. If you can make it work, then I say do it and have fun with it. There's nothing worse than somebody kind of raining on your parade because you were really happy and they're like, that doesn't count. No, I say go for it. Alrighty, the very last piece was a specific start that I did. I wanted to start it on Friday of last week, the 7th, but I couldn't land on the fabric in the end because the fabric I wanted, I don't have enough of it. So I didn't get to start till the weekend. But Debbie, who is Glitter Dove Fairy on Instagram, turned 50 this year. A wonderful happy birthday again to Debbie. And she wanted us to stitch fairy tale sort of items. And so the hashtag is hashtag 50th Fairy Tale SAL. And this recently came out from Tiny Modernist, and so I said, I have to stitch this one. So this is what I chose. And I believe Debbie herself is also stitching this one. And Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, just put out a video. Beth put one out this week. She does every other Wednesday. And why does my pen not want to work? You know what? I have my backup pen here. I'm getting better. Well, I'm sort of better at organizing. There was half the stuff I wanted to do that I didn't do. Beth is doing, oh gosh, a really, really pretty one. I can't remember who it's by, but she shows it. She started it this past week, and so she showed it in this week's video. If you want to see it, it looks really, really nice. But this is mine. So this was a saga to find my fabric. I originally wanted to, and I don't know if I have, yes, I can reach it. This is what I used for Wizard of Oz and what I am currently using for Alice in Wonderland. So this is 18 count. When do I use 20 count? Very rarely. Ice Blue Opal, and it is from a company that is retired. They don't hand dye fabric anymore. So I couldn't get any more of this. And I didn't check ahead of time because that would have been too easy. I just assumed I'd have enough. And I have enough this lengthways, but it was just too narrow all the way down. I couldn't do it. So then I kind of thought I was going to pivot, and where is it? Oh, here it is. Then I almost went with, I had this from Hand Dye by Rolanda, this opal. I really wanted opal. If I couldn't do the same color, because I want all of these trees possibly to be a collection in the scrapbook, I wanted to keep the opal theme. So I was going to go potentially with this yellow. And I had laid the colors down. And in fact, I actually did some test stitching. I test stitched the yellow and then I test stitched the white. And the white didn't show up a lot, but it would have been fine. I think the yellow was fine. So I was kind of going to lean into that, but I wasn't 100% sure. So then I went back to my opals and I found this. I have no idea what it is. I think I've already cut it from the big piece. Yeah. Because this was probably like, you know, think of this as half of what the piece I had. It had no tag on it. It's 18 count as far as I can tell. And it's opal. And so I thought, okay, this will work. And if I have to change any of the blues, I'll work on that as I go. But that's where I got, which I'm pleased with because, you know, there's a bunch of different colors. I can't remember how many stitches this was, but it's not as few as you'd think it would be. Now, this looks a little odd right now because it needs back stitching. I'll probably wait until the end to backstitch. This piece doesn't have a ton, although down there's a couple of kind of diamonds down here and they are backstitched. So that's where the majority of it is. And then I'll come back up and do up here. I'm not sure if I'll have to change, like I said, any of the other colors, but we're just going to wing it and see what happens for now. So that's where I am. I don't know if I'll pull this out again this week. It was a lot of fun. I did buy the digital on this one because I went straight to Tiny Modernist site and just bought it from her. And it went into Pattern Keeper like a dream and really easily. So that was really lovely and made it easy to do and a lot of fun. So you may see that one again next week, but I don't really know. So that is it for this week. That's all. Oh, and that had an I Spy, the 4 repeating elements. There's a lot of, on each side of the tier of say the tree, are leaves, exactly the same leaves design all the way down. And so you repeat it at least 4 times. So I use that for my I Spy prompt. Alrighty, so that is what I currently stitched this week. What are my plans? Like I said, Monday is St. Patrick's Day. I think it's supposed to be really awful, rainy, yucky, terrible weather here on Monday. I think the rain is supposed to start Sunday night, but I don't think it's coming early Sunday. I haven't seen the forecast. Everybody, please be careful for everybody in the south area, because this afternoon, all day tomorrow, actually, I think it's all the way up through the Ohio Valley as well. Tornadoes, and I think there's snow going in Iowa. I don't know. There's crazy weather going on right now. Please be careful. Anybody who is in the path of the tornadoes. Thanks to Amy from Renewing Stitches, she had told me about Ryan Hall. And he has a YouTube channel. And so he does the weather. If there's not a lot happening, he just updates on Mondays and tells you what's going on throughout the entire country. And then he'll focus on storms or trends or whatever. And when there's storms coming, then he'll do like a quick, and his videos are generally like 10 minutes, 12 minutes long. So, you get a quick hit. What's the weather? You move on. When there are, he has storm chasers. I mean, it's a very big kind of, they do disaster relief. He has storm chasers. It's a pretty big deal. So during storms, he goes live and he has storm chasers in different areas. And they try to, when the warnings come up for tornadoes or whatever it happens to be, he tries to let people know where those are so you can be ready for things. So if you are in, kind of those areas that weather's coming, if you have the chance, I would say, especially when it's kind of hitting your area, if you can watch him live. I don't know if he's going to be, he said it's going to be like a 36-hour kind of event. I don't know if he's doing live or what he's doing the entire time, but I would suggest that if you kind of want to watch somebody that's in real time, kind of paying attention. But he had said he didn't know when all of this stuff was coming to the East Coast. I need to put this down. I am a talker with my hands. And I think today's forecast, he was going to at least give some idea, because once the live stuff starts, he's not going to do forecast predictions for, Sunday or Monday. So I'm going to pay attention today, but Monday might be long and short. What took me in that direction was Monday might just be a horrible day that I'm just going to hunker down and not do anything outside of the house, kind of thing, and do what I need to inside the house, and then I can stitch. And it's St. Patrick's Day, so the March Cottage I'd like to do. I might try to do some more of the St. Patrick's Gnome. And then there was this super cutie piece. Let me go to my pictures. Now, this is what went down the rabbit hole when I was going to go on Facebook and catch up on my group and everything else. I was going through, just different group posts first, and Shannon Christine, who I follow, had posted something. She was like, who feels like a scavenger hunt? And if you went to her website, somewhere in listings for the different things you can buy, the patterns, there's 3 different coupon codes. I found one, but I kind of stopped after I found this next thing. I can always go back. I don't remember where I found them, though, so I'm not sure where to go back to. And then there'll be a free chart somewhere. When you click on some listing in the pictures, the second picture will be a free chart. Isn't that adorable? It's a 30 by 30 piece. It's called Pot of Gold. Of course, as is Shannon Christine's way, there's probably 15 different DMCs for this 30 by 30 piece. But I just thought this was so cute. And so I went on the scavenger hunt. I'm showing it from a distance. This isn't the actual pattern. This is a picture of what she showed you to look for. but I still, you know, you really just have to go and start clicking on her things. And then, of course, there's all sorts of patterns that are phenomenal. I like Shannon Christine. So this one might get a start on St. Patrick's Day as well. Oh, there's Kreinik in it. I can use, that's okay. I can use like Petite Treasure Braid or something. I have a bunch of sparkly stuff. So yeah, so that's Monday. I think that's all I have that's St. Patrick's-y. Of course, none of that's monochromatic. Maybe I don't know what I'll work on. Maybe one Monday doesn't get some monochromatic. We'll see. But so that's the plans. And then I am starting next week with Karen, the Stitching Owl, our other friend Karen, Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner, and Amy from Renewing Stitches. Am I forgetting? Karen, Amy, Mary. No, the five of us are starting a Doreen Jones butterfly. And this is what it looks like. So if you want to join us, Amy, Amy's going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to tell you if you go to her videos. So I'm going to list Karen, Amy, and Mary for you to check out their videos. But Amy is going to slightly change this, but you have to go watch her to see what she's going to do. And it's going to be so cool. So that's starting up as well. I don't know if I start it later on Thursday, you may not see it next Friday, because a lot of times if I do stuff late on Thursday, I've already gotten all of my other projects ironed or put in kind of whatever order that I'm going to iron or whatever it is. So usually those items wait until the following Thursday or the following video. And since this just keeps happening every Thursday, it works out. It's still week to week. So usually a Thursday before noon stitch might make it into the Friday video, but a Thursday after 12 noon makes it into the following week. So you probably won't see that, but I will be stitching on it. All right, and that's it for, oh, no, there's one other thing. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I had put up, I work-ish. I mean, it's very, every once in a while, Just Cross Stitch will reach out and say, hey, Laura, will you make a 30-second video with XYZ? And then they set it up as a reel, which is, thank goodness, but we collaborate kind of thing. I have no idea how to do that. So I'm very grateful to their social media team that does that. And then it gets put out on social media. And so they had asked me after I had looked through the spring, and I've done my flip through. If you want to see the spring, this is what it looks like, Just Cross Stitch Magazine 2025. They said if I could do a 30-second video, kind of deciding on two different pieces that I'd like to start. There's quite a few in here that I would like to start, but the video narrowed it down to two. And can I tell you, a 30-second video is not easy to film. So this first one, Quaker Posies, was one of the choices. And the video basically was choose for me. Which one do you think I should stitch? This was, oh gosh, the piece just fell. Oh, I must have pulled apart. There's no way I can reach that. The second one was the garden bunny. I'm seeing right now the actual stitch, the pattern, but I'm not going to show you that. It's a cute little garden bunny I'm sure many of you have seen it. Well, garden bunny overwhelmingly won. There was some garden posies or Quaker Posies choices, but this one was completely the winner. I happen to see, if you follow Just Cross Stitch on Instagram, they had shown maybe a week or week and a half ago, somebody had stitched it, and the bunny, they changed the colors. And so the bunny was more of, I don't know if it was like a chocolate bunny sort of thing. It was really cool, really pretty. So I'm debating, you know, I had thoughts about how I wanted to stitch that one, but I'm debating now. I want to go back and see what inspiration that stitcher can give and then go from there. So I don't know if this week I'll start that, but within the next week or two, I will start the garden bunny. So if you're stitching that, let me know. And if you've changed it at all, I would love to see what you did with it. So that is somewhere in the plans, whether that's this coming week or the following week. But let's jump into some of the stitches on this Just Cross Stitch 2025 magazine. Alrighty, now we're done with plans. I would love to show you some beautiful happy mail that I received. Nina had reached out to me and said that she had just started sewing and she had some fabric that totally screamed me, and could she, send me something? And I said, oh, that's so lovely of you. And I was curious, what was the fabric that would remind her of me? And this is so perfect. I love it so much. So this came in the mail actually yesterday, so it's perfect. She made me a project bag. How beautiful is this? So look at this fabric. It is phenomenal. She knows that I do my pumpkin birthday stitch along, pumpkin birthday SAL. So every October, anything pumpkin, pumpkin adjacent, pumpkin color, you name it, including, we've got teal pumpkins. Well, these are gourds, I guess, but pumpkins are gourds, the whole bit. She has a cute little pumpkin charm that she put on the zipper. And then I love that contrast fabric. It is beautiful. So Nina, actually, I went and I saw, because she has a nice little tag. She actually has an Etsy shop, which I am going to link. It's Star 87 Crafts. So if you go down below, I'm going to link Nina's shop. And then not only did she send me that, she sent me a few stickers. And the very first one, these are going, Nina, this is, you're so lovely. These are going in my stitching planner. The first one was You Matter. Now, if you watch me all the way through my videos, anybody who watches me all the way through knows why that's important. And then two others she sent me was Be Kind, which is something I try to live by, and Relax and Recharge, which ironically is also something I'm a big believer in meditation, and sometimes you need to not go to feel your best. So thank you so much. This was so lovely. It's so humbling and so lovely, and people are so nice, and I'm gonna cry thinking about how nice everybody is. Thank you so much, Nina. This just means quite a bit to me, and that you took the time to make this and think of me, and I just thank you. Thank you very much. Shopping, I showed you the pattern from Stitch Sprout. The only other piece I have of shopping is Fabric of the Month. And this came from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's called EOS. This is the February Fabric of the Month that came in. So look away if you don't want to see it. It's very cool. 18 count. You know the drill. Not as stark. But there is multiple colors. Not as stark as that, but you do get a multicolored theme. Okay, you can look away. I need to figure out what would work on that. If I wanted a one big piece, because that you could take advantage of all those colors, or if I wanted to break it up and do things smaller. We'll see. It's very, very cool though. And that's it for shopping. I'm excited to see everybody's videos about what they got excited about for market. There's some beautiful patterns. I bought 0, pre-ordered. In my mind, everything will be available, but the cookbook, which I don't get. And I actually felt really good inside, not worrying about whether or not I got something ahead of time and when's it coming and this, that. This was just for me. Please understand, if you got super excited about pre-ordering, I am jumping for joy for you, and I can't wait to see what you got. I've just found for me, this was really kind of a really good, relaxing thing for myself. And I think going forward, I like this. I mean, something like the Empyrean SAL I pre-ordered, I was excited about. It was very specific, but kind of this blanket, big, you can go crazy pre-ordering thing. I have things that I haven't stitched that I pre-ordered. So I'm learning that there is not, for me, there is no fear of missing out. Majority of the patterns, in fact, I can order on a lot of places already, some of these things. So I am excited though to see what everybody else got excited about. And I know down the line I will buy some of these pieces that came out at market, because there were some really, really lovely things. But this worked really well for me and was a really healthy thing for me. So I take that and I want to remember that moving forward for these big drops of stuff. I mean, obviously stuff comes out every week. Somebody's putting something out every day if you really want to pay attention to, you know, Etsy and everything else. And I just, this was exactly how I needed to treat it. So I'm really pleased with myself. Anyway, that's that. All right, so that's all the stitching. Not a lot of buying, sorry, if you like to see all the new latest and greatest. If you don't care about life stuff, and I don't live an exciting life, so you're not really missing much, then I hope you were doing all right and okay, and I will see you next week. So life stuff, like I said at the beginning of the video, it was a very busy week. It's kind of like, and you make, so this week was a lot of was doctor's visits weeks and things like that. You make these, and they're checkups, right? So you make these things a year ahead of time, and sometimes you don't realize. I don't necessarily have it. I have a written calendar. So when somebody says, how about blah, blah, blah in 2025, I'll be like, sure, no problem. And then I go home and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're all like the same week. So I had multiple doctor kind of checkups, and the older you get, excuse me, there's like 17 different doctors you need to go get checkups from, right? It's crazy. Plus then, of course, they send you for this, that, and the other. So then I have all those other things I have to still do. Again, all preventative, but you know, they send you to these things. So that was a busy week doing that. I did a physical therapy on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday afternoon. I had physical therapy and went well. Had me do a couple of really difficult things. I almost got stuck. I couldn't, you know, it's like, you know how sometimes if you're in a position, especially if you're close to the floor, right? The older you get, it's hard to get up. And so they had me do something, and they were there. There's a new physical therapist that joined the practice. So I actually had 2 physical therapists that followed me the entire hour. And then, you know, I'm going to say fun in a joking way, tortured me. Obviously they didn't. I love that practice. So so I'm doing something and I'm like, I don't think I could actually get up. And I was able to, but it was just kind of funny because I was, I'll never forget. I don't remember my youngest. I can't remember what they'd done, but there was something and they were stuck. And every once in a while, Mo and I will just, if we're stuck something, we'll yell stuck, because that's what they yelled when they were a little, not a baby, obviously. They had to be able to talk. They were probably a toddler, and they'd gotten themselves somewhere, and it was like stuck. And so I just wanted to yell out stuck because yeah, it wasn't going to work. So it was kind of funny. Luckily though, yesterday was the day after, and sometimes that's a really, really painful day after I've just been doing all of these hard things. And I felt it was great. I felt muscle soreness, but I felt only a tiny bit of pain. And there's a difference. If you've ever, I spent over a decade as a fitness instructor. So I know the difference between pain and muscle soreness after a good workout. And so it was really kind of nice to have mostly more muscle soreness and a little less pain. So we'll see. Baby steps. We'll see, because now tomorrow I have to do some strength stuff on my own. We'll see how I feel on Sunday. But that was my appointment there. We had, I did go to my neighborhood needlework group. We had a new neighbor friend from the community come, and she's a knitter. So now we have knitters, crocheters, a couple of us. So I think there's 7 of us that come regularly. A couple of us cross stitch, and then one, I think she does more of a kind of a sort of needlepoint. I don't know exactly. So it's kind of fun because there's it's called Needlepoint is the group for the community. And so you can do pretty much anything with needles. So that was fun. I enjoyed that too. So it was just a busy week. I was in and out, plus other things and errands and you name it, whatever. So, but that is also progress, because 6, 8, 9, 12 months ago, I could barely do any errands because of the pain. One errand would be extremely painful. And now I'm able to do multiple things in a day, in and out of the house. So I'm just gonna give myself a little pat, because I do my exercises every day. So we're not at the point where I can like truly exercise, but I am feeling better. So if you are at the point, do your exercises. There's days where you don't feel like it, but if you are in physical therapy, do every day what they tell you to do, whether you feel like it or not. I know it's a pain, but it will help. I have no specific books or TV really to talk about. Mo and I haven't decided on a new show to watch together since Paradise has ended. So I think he's going to let me watch Zero Day. He watched the second and he said he was intrigued, but then he was kind of like, I'm not sure. And I haven't watched any more of it yet. So I haven't done that. Just catching up on some like network stuff. Like I'm a big NCIS fan. So things like that I watch as well. So that's it. I don't have really any fun, ooh, this is a great book or series to either read or watch. Maybe next week, we'll see. All right, so that's about all I have this week. I'm so glad if you're still here with me that you took the time to kind of hang out and chat and visit and stitch, or, you know, fold laundry or wash dishes or cook dinner or whatever it is. I know a lot of people like to use Flosstube as just a background for other kind of activities as well, which I think is phenomenal because then it makes it go by faster. So, but thank you for being there. I hope you're well. I hope you are safe. And, oh, I think I put my sticker away. I was going to hold it up. As always, I do want to remind you that you do matter. You are important. Every single one of you out there is special and important and matters. So please don't forget that. All right. Until next time, happy stitching.